Hey guys, what's going on? SpitBrix here, back for another LEGO Ninjago video. In this video, I'll be going over every single Ninjago Ninja minifigure that LEGO has ever produced for the Ninjago line. Now, I will also be including the Ninjago movie, as well with all of the other seasons of Ninjago we have gotten before that. There are a ton of different minifigures that LEGO has put out, and you do not want to miss out on any of this action, so be sure to stick around for the whole entire video. Now before I continue this video, I do want to mention a great app for collectors called Snupps. Snupps is an awesome way to share your collections like LEGO and view others' collections as well. On the app, I share some of my favorite LEGO collections, and if you get the app, you can view mine and share yours as well. You can also join my LEGO group, in which anyone who loves LEGO can join, post, view, and talk about LEGO collections. If you join the LEGO group and follow me on Snupps, I will follow you back. So far, a lot of you guys have checked out this app and have really enjoyed it. Snupps is a free app available for iOS and Android devices, so go ahead and give it a try. Links and more information is in the description. Now, to make sure that I include every single ninja, I will actually be using the Ninjago website on lego.com. There's this new page here that goes through every single one of the ninjas, minifigures, all the different ones that LEGO has ever produced for every single ninja. It's a really awesome website, and I love looking at all these different ninjas that we've got throughout the years. Now, real quickly, I do want to tell you guys that this word right here, GIS, which is Geese, that's how you pronounce it. A gi is basically a martial art uniform, or in this case, a ninja robe. So whenever it says gi, just basically think of it as a ninja robe. So you'll see that throughout this video. I just wanted to let you guys know about that before we start. Let's go ahead and jump in with Lloyd. Alright, so the first Lloyd minifigure we're going to take a look at is the Dragon Extreme G Lloyd minifigure. You can see here, this was an exclusive Lloyd minifigure you can get inside one of those minifigure cubes, which you probably found at Target if you ended up picking one up. This is a really interesting minifigure. You can see that they put the DX printing there that the other ninjas used to get. Obviously, Lloyd was kind of made after the DX ninjas had already gotten their suits, so this is basically an exclusive minifigure. So if you have this minifigure, you're very lucky. Next up, the Zane Extreme Armor. This is the first official minifigure of Lloyd that ever came out. I got him in the Epic Dragon Battle set, which by the way is an amazing set. Definitely recommend it if you guys can get it. I really like these little silver dots here on his uniform, kind of like the Ninjago movie ones. It adds a lot of texture and detail, which I really like, as well as these sort of platinum colored shoulder pads I think look really cool with him as well. Next up, the Elemental Robe, which is the Golden Ninja, the Ultimate Master, whatever you guys want to call Lloyd in this suit. I love that they still kept some of the green on this uniform, but of course this whole entire gold head and the gold printing everywhere on this minifigure really makes him unique and really awesome to have. I love how this minifigure came out very unique and very special, as he should be. Next up is the Techno G for Lloyd. Here you can see we have some really cool printing here on the torso. I really like the energy that comes out here on our right side. Lloyd has some darker green arms paired with this regular green. I think looks really interesting. We get his hair for the first time, which was awesome to get in this rebooted minifigure. You can see here we didn't get any printing on the legs, which was a big disappointment in my opinion for this line of Ninjago minifigures. Next up, the Stone Warrior Armor also did not get any printing, but we did get some new printing here on the torso. I love all that plated of silver or platinum. I think that looks really cool right there. I do love how this minifigure came out. Next up, the Tournament G. He doesn't have any sleeves on this minifigure. I think this minifigure has a very unique look, has some writing across his chest right there, as well as a logo, and I really do like how this one turned out. He has some different printing down here on the legs, probably one of the better leg printings we've ever got for a Lloyd minifigure. Next up is the Jungle G Lloyd Garmadon minifigure. He has a little sai tucked into his robe right here. In this picture, he actually has two gold katanas, and you can see his logo right here as well. I really do like the ninja masks for this line of minifigures because of this little gold logo up here. I think it's really cool, and of course incorporating this sort of brownish orange color on this minifigure is definitely a cool little change. Next up, the deep stone armor from the possession season of LEGO Ninjago. I love the black paired with the gold and the green. I think this minifigure looks absolutely phenomenal. One of my favorite Lloyd minifigures the LEGO's ever produced. I just think the color combinations on all these deep stone armor minifigures I think just really come out very well, and some very nice unique printing. Next up, the Air Jitsu G, which is another really cool minifigure. I love this green head that we get, which is very unique. You do not see minifigure heads that are green like this very often. We also get his ninja wrap, all in just a solid green color, and of course solid green arms as well as hands, which is pretty cool as well. The black also ties into some of this printing right here on his torso, which turned out pretty nice. Next up is the Destiny robe for Lloyd. Now, a lot of these names you guys probably haven't really heard of, exactly the same as before. Kind of the Ninjago fan base calls different robes different things than what LEGO officially calls them, so it's pretty interesting also to learn the names of some of these. This is the Destiny robe from the Skybound wave of LEGO Ninjago. I love the Air Jitsu logo here. Looks absolutely phenomenal. We get his hair once again, and it's just a little ninja mask that covers over his nose and mouth. This minifigure also has the pairings of the black, gold, and green, which looks really nice, but also in its very own unique way. I love the little straps that come across his uniform right here. Pretty interesting minifigure. Next up, the Honor robe kind of brings it back to what we used to have for Lloyd. Kind of more back to a classic minifigure. Now, the Honor robes are from Day of the Departed, if you guys did not already know, so that's what it is. So here you can see we have the double printed or double colored head mask here, which I think is really cool. This darker green and the lighter green look really cool, as well as this nice shoulder armor piece. Up next, the fusion armor for Lloyd. Here you can see we have the same sort of head wrap here, but we have some crazy printing going on down here. He's got all black arms and hands, and then he's got some crazy printing right here. There's a lot going on right here, and what's kind of interesting is that he actually has a black belt that goes across here, which looks very different compared to ones that we've gotten before. And last but certainly not least, this is the Ninja Force G from the upcoming LEGO Ninjago movie. This one's very different compared to all the other Lloyd minifigures because LEGO did want to put a different touch on these minifigures to make them look fresh and new, and I do really love this new two-pieced ninja hood, as well as this new printing for his face. I love that all the ninjas got new face printing, and of course hair too, but in this image you can see him with his head robe and all of his printing, which looks very nice. The next ninja we're going to be taking a look at is Cole. Here you can see him in his normal training outfit over on the very left. This was the first ever production of the Cole minifigure. He has this very classic ninja wrap that goes over his classic torso and legs as well. This is kind of what I think of whenever I think of the Cole minifigure or all the ninjas in general, because I was a big fan of Ninjago for the first 2 years of it. Especially, I collected a lot of the sets and a lot of the minifigures, and then of course it's kind of spiraled into some other series, which I still get some of the sets, but not nearly as much. So I really do love these first couple robes here. The Dragon Extreme G, or the DX robe for Cole here, looks really cool. I love the dragon. The Earth Dragon here looks really awesome, spitting out that rock, and of course this scaly tail on that leg printing right there. Very unique minifigure. I love how that one turned out. Next up, the Zen Extreme Armor, or the ZX robe for Cole. I really like this sort of silver plating up here on the very top. It's very unique, and of course here we got this new different head robe than we had for the Dragon Extreme G and the Training G as well. We also get some new printing right here, which is pretty interesting. I think I prefer some of the other ZX Ninja printing rather than Cole's, but this one is cool nonetheless. Next up is Cole in his kendo armor. Now, just a quick little disclaimer. These ninjas are basically in order of when they were published or when they were put out, but some of them, like this kendo armor, sometimes get out of place because, of course, we got this kendo armor before the ZX Ninjas. That's just something I wanted to let you guys know of for the rest of this video. Now, all the ninjas in their kendo armor, basically just this armor put over their original training robes, which was a very nice way to get them if you had not already collected all the printing here for the torso and legs for each of the minifigures. Next up, the Elemental robe featured a lot of this sort of silver or gray color with this black, which I think looked really cool. These Elemental robes all turned out really nice. I do love how these turned out just really unique and brought a different aspect or different feel to these ninja minifigures. Next up, the Techno G, we got Cole's hair, which was really awesome. This minifigure actually came in one of the cheapest sets of the rebooted line, but also has some of the coolest hair in my opinion for the hair mold. Here you can see we also get his ninja bandana that goes over his face and mouth, and some interesting printing here on the torso, no printing on the legs. Next up, Stone Warrior Armor Cole. Here you can see him, he's all plated up with that armor, which looks pretty interesting, very similar to the previous one we just looked at, just he has a bit of different printing here on the legs and torso. Next up, Tournament G, he has no sleeves once again, so you get the yellow arms here with the nice printing across the way there with some lettering, and of course his hair, and some different leg printing. Next up, the Jungle G, incorporating some of that orange or brown color here on the torso and the legs, as well as a very light band that goes across his waist, which I thought was an interesting addition, how light that is. It's almost like a very light gray. Next up, the Deep Stone Armor from the Possession season of LEGO Ninjago has incorporated some of this orange here in the very middle, which really stands out, in my opinion, almost too much, but also gives a different feel to a Cole minifigure. I love the two colors here on the head mask there, as well as his black armor sword holder that goes over his neck as well, and the little aspects of gold just give it that nice little touch. Next up, Airjitsu G Cole, which is definitely one of the best minifigures, I'd have to say, of Cole. You can see all this orange that was incorporated in this minifigure, and this awesome orange minifigure head with Cole's face printed on it. He has the plain black ninja hood that goes over it. This is a great minifigure. Came with the Airjitsu flyer sets. I wish I would have gotten more of them. These minifigures are absolutely phenomenal. Next up is the Destiny robe. You can see here the Airjitsu, and this is a pretty interesting animal head. Maybe comment down below what you guys think this animal is on top of this Airjitsu spiral. You can see here we also have the double colored headpiece there, as well as some printing down here and some gray arms, which was a different addition. Next up is the Honor Robe for Cole from the Day of the Departed wave. This was a very special, I guess you could say, series for Cole himself. It really featured around him quite a bit. Here you can see we've got some printing here. This interesting logo of Cole that you saw in his training outfit from 2011 is here again with a bit more detail, a bit more rocky feeling and rough, and sort of almost like an old texture on there. I think this one turned out pretty interesting. I do love these honor robes and how they kind of relate back to the 2011. Next up, the Fusion Armor. Once again, tons of things going on here. You can see Cole's logo right there. He has a bunch of straps and robes and ropes and everything on him here. It's really crazy. He has that scar still on his head face print right there, which looks pretty interesting. And just the overall feel of this minifigure is very different than the Coles that we usually get. And then, of course, last but certainly not least, the Ninja Force G from the upcoming LEGO Ninjago movie. Cole has a sleeveless shirt on and has kind of the colors of Earth, of course, the brown, the black, and of course, well, this sort of goldish, which kind of ties into his skin color of the yellow color, which is interesting. I do love these leg prints here with just the little hints of color, and the torso as well looks very nice. The next ninja we're going to be talking about is Kai. Here he is in his training outfit. We have this really interesting sort of animal head or little logo here that was on his chest for Kai. I remember getting this minifigure and trying to figure out what in the world, what type of animal that was modeled after. This minifigure is very classic. I love just the simplicity of it, and of course that head wrap there. Next up, the Dragon Extreme G with the fire dragon on it. This is one of the coolest DX ninja prints in my opinion. I love that tail down there that looks really cool, and of course the fire coming out of the dragon's mouth. Next up, the Zen Extreme Armor, which this is not the Zen Extreme Armor. You're seeing the Zen Extreme Armor on the screen right now. This is just one of the small little mess-ups LEGO has put into this website right now. I assume they'll fix it in just a few days, so be sure to still check it out. Next up, the Kendo Armor of the Kai, of course, basically just the training outfit with the armor on it. Nothing too special, but still is a pretty cool looking minifigure. Next up is the Energy G, which this is a really awesome minifigure. I love the Energy Ninjas. Here you can see the Kai logo that's kind of like exploding with sparks and fire. awesome minifigure. I love it. I have all the energy ninjas, and Kai is definitely one of the coolest ones, just with the overall color of red. You don't see many minifigures that are mostly red rather than other colors. Even that head in there is completely red all the way around. Next up, the elemental robe. Here you can see Kai actually got some gold printing on here that go along with the black and the red, which I think looks really interesting, and of course the black pairs with it as well. I even just love these little clips here on the sides. They just give that little bit of extra detail, and if the minifigure didn't have that, I think it would look a bit different. Next up, the Techno G Kai minifigure. This one's probably one of the best Techno G minifigures for the ninjas. I love the little flames here that come up on the sides, and of course the little robe printing there in the very middle. We get his hair piece, which was a very nice, unique new mold there. No leg printing, but makes up for it in the torso. Next up, the Stone Warrior armor, but this one definitely is a different look for Kai because of course it incorporates that silver, which we usually get gold with Kai. I guess that's just kind of what LEGO started to go with. We also get this nice black shoulder pad armor there, which looks really nice as well. This one's probably one of the ones that I think could have done a little bit better just because of all this light printing here on the torso, and then drops down to like black and dark red on the pants, which doesn't really make much sense in my opinion. Next up, the Tournament G. You can see sleeveless shirt once again, the red, the black, the gold, the hair, and of course the ninja mask. Nice printing down on the legs. Next up, Jungle G Kai. Here you can see he has two daggers actually put into his ninja robe. You can see his logo as well as that different writing up on the very top. This is a very unique minifigure as well and incorporates that sort of brown color with his red. Next up, the Deep Stone armor. The black and the red looks phenomenal together. I love how this minifigure turned out. Next up, the Air Jitsu G Kai minifigure from the Air Jitsu Flyer sets. This one's probably not one of my favorite Air Jitsu minifigures, but does have some really cool printing nonetheless. You can see it's sort of even like white and black here in the very middle and kind of spreads out into the fire colors. Now his head print right there looks really awesome. I love how that one turned out. Next up, the Destiny robe. Here you can see he has the golden shoulder pad printing there as well as his Air Jitsu little tornado. He has the little clips on the sides and the nice printing down on the legs. The Honor robe is next from Day of the Departed. You can see the two different colors of red that LEGO started incorporating about this time, which I really like. You can see that more here on the next one, the Fusion armor, which also comes with his hair once again, and the black arms and black hands. You can see this darker red color paired with this regular true red, which looks really interesting and definitely gives Kai a different and more updated look. Last but certainly not least, here's the one for the LEGO Ninjago Movie, Ninja Force G. This one looks really cool. I love the little diamond pattern here on his pants, and just the simplicity of his torso just looks very nice, and I do love this head, of course. Next up, we're going to be looking at Nia. Now, Nia has not always been a ninja, but I'm really glad that LEGO decided to put her in as a ninja. I think it was about time that they made the girl on the team end up being a water ninja. Now, we're just going to go through all the minifigures because, of course, well, she ends up being a ninja, so I guess you could consider her a ninja throughout the entire time. Here's the kimono, which was the first version of Nia we ever got. She came in a spinner as well as Garmadon's Dark Fortress. I love the little fire emblems as well as just the little details here on the torso and legs that we do not see anywhere else really in this Ninjago line of minifigures. And of course this head print here with the little ninja mask over the top, which is kind of interesting that this was printed here, and then eventually the ninjas got their own piece that kind of did the same sort of thing that covered up their nose and their mouth starting around Rebooted Wave. Next up, the Samurai X suit, which actually introduced that Nia was a samurai, has this really awesome helmet here, and of course the armor that we saw on the Kendo ninjas, and under there is actually some really interesting printing. The next minifigure is actually a minifigure that I really haven't seen much of. I don't really have a lot of the Samurai X minifigures, but I love how this one looks. Has some really cool sort of like almost neon printing on there, which looks really nice, and of course that armor and just an updated look of Samurai X ended up looking very nice. Next up is a Samurai X 3.0 suit. That's what LEGO calls this one. This one's probably one of my least favorites just because of how robotic it looks. And I do like to be able to see that it's Nia underneath this big suit of metal. Next up, the Water G is whenever Nia ended up being a water ninja. So here you can see her two colors of this sort of darker red and this lighter blue color, which I think look phenomenal together. She has the gold armor that actually goes up on her shoulders, and that's incorporated throughout her design here. I really love how this minifigure definitely turned out, and the evolution of this water ninja is going to be really awesome to see. Next up, the Air Jitsu G for Nia, which is a very, very unique Air Jitsu minifigure. You can see this darker red in the majority of it, and then these bright blue arms and hands on both sides. You can also see sort of here in the very middle the water splashing out, almost looks like a phoenix. I don't know if you guys ever noticed that. Here it looks like the wings, the tails, the other wing, and of course the very top there looks like the head. Now I don't know if they were trying to do that on purpose, and that's pretty cool that it ended up coming out like that. Next up, the Destiny robe. Here we get her hair once again with a new face print. We get her, of course, Air Jitsu sort of spiral on there, which looks really cool. Next up, the Honor robe that looks mostly similar to her original Water Ninja outfit. And of course, the Fusion armor, which took a big turn whenever she kind of adopted this sort of silver platinum color paired with her light blue. This was a nice change with Nia. However, I would like to see that dark red and blue come back into play. And there is a tiny mistake here. LEGO, you messed up a bit again. There is no Nia minifigure from the LEGO Ninjago movie as I'm recording this video. But you guys are seeing an image right now. I really do love how this minifigure turned out. Just incorporating the gray and the blue just overall looks really cool, and I can see why they stayed away from the red, just so she doesn't get confused with her brother Kai and has her own look. The next ninja we're going to be taking a look at is Jay. Here we have him in his training outfit. He has this sort of octopus or squid looking logo on the very beginning there. Then we jump over to the DX version of Jay, which in my opinion has to be my favorite DX ninja. I just love the lightning tail here on the very bottom, looks absolutely phenomenal. And of course the lightning coming out of his mouth. One of the more simplistic DX designs, but in my opinion looks the coolest. LEGO messed up on the Zen Extreme armor once again, but you can see an image on the screen right now. Jay got paired with the silver armor and the silver little accents on this minifigure, which I think is definitely the right choice. Next up, the Kendo armor, which was actually a pretty rare minifigure for some reason. It only came in like 1 or 2 sets, but you could easily make him if you had gotten the original training minifigure, and then any other of the Kendo ninja just take off their helmet and shoulder pads and put it on this minifigure, and ta-da, you have the Kendo armor J minifigure. Next up, the Energy G. This NRG J minifigure was actually included in my top 10 LEGO Ninjago minifigures list that I have on Snupps. If you guys want to go check that out, be sure to get the app. This is a great minifigure. I love all the lightning bolts just going all around it, and that head printing is absolutely phenomenal. Next up, the Elemental robe, which they keep the silver, the black, and the blue all together. This one's pretty interesting. I do like how the blue kind of turned out with this black. Next up, the Techno G. We get his hair for the very first time, which is maybe a bit more orange than I would have expected, but still nonetheless really cool to get his hair. We get his ninja wrap that goes over his face right there, and some really awesome printing there on the torso, no printing on the legs. Stone Warrior armor actually did get some printing on the legs here for Jay, and of course the torso. I love the silver with the blue. Just overall is a great combination of colors for Jay, and LEGO did a great job with that. The Tournament G kind of mixed it up. They added some gold printing here, the text, as well with his sleeveless shirt. This is a very different minifigure of Jay, definitely stands out from the rest. Next up, the Jungle G. You can see he has 2 daggers that are actually hidden inside of his ninja robe. I really do like his little band that goes across his legs right here. This sort of lighter blue color really stands out, looks very nice as well. Deep Stone armor, one of the coolest Jay minifigures, pairing a lot of black in this minifigure, especially with that blue. Looks really cool. I love the 2 colors here up on the very top. Air Jitsu G J minifigure, really nice. You can see all this blue here and paired with the black and a bit of white in the very middle. Next up, the Destiny robe, which was a very unique Jay minifigure and introduced a few new things. We have the regular hair, but we did get a new face print for Jay with that eye patch. And we also get to see this new sort of look at his octopus sort of logo. Next up, the Honor robe also had his hair and all this sort of usual things that you'd usually see. This one was a very interesting minifigure to say the least, and well, LEGO I guess put it on here. Here we have the fusion armor, which is pretty decent here. I really like the dark blue and the regular blue. The color combinations are very nice with the black on the sides. This is also one of my favorite updated versions of the J minifigure that we have gotten. And last but certainly not least, the Ninja Force G for the upcoming LEGO Ninjago movie incorporates that darker blue and the lighter blue, but also incorporates some orange, which was a very different inclusion to this minifigure. I do like how it ended up turning out, and he also gets freckles. Last but certainly not least, here we have Zane in his training outfit right here. He has sort of a ice spiked tiger face or lion face on his training outfit. Zane is a very neutral ninja. I really do like how this white sort of set the tone for all these minifigures, and of course kind of all the colors that you could pair with white look nice. So all these minifigures turned out pretty cool. DX version of Zane, you can see this sort of almost like a lightning ice sort of thing that's coming out of this dragon's mouth, and this tail print here is really cool. Once again, I love these DX minifigures. Zen Extreme Armor, they did end up including that on this one. He gets the gold paired with the white, which I think was definitely the best choice here. He also has some tan and some dark brown printing down here, which was kind of interesting. The LEGO would have included that. Next up, the Kendo Armor, which of course is just the armor over the regular training suit. Then the Energy G came along, which was very different for Zane at the time. He gets this sort of light blue color paired with a bit of silver there on the very middle, and of course the white hands and the white printing. His head was very different. This was a very different Energy Ninja. Definitely stood out from the rest of the pack of the other Ninja minifigures. Next up, the Elemental Robe. Pairing that black with the white is absolutely phenomenal. I love just the two neutral colors side by side, and then of course incorporating the gold there. Just a absolutely phenomenal minifigure. Next up, the Techno G. We get to see that Zane is actually a robot. We also get his hair and this awesome print here of his torso. I love how this one came out. Stone Warrior Armor. Still no leg printing right here, as does the Techno G. And we have some interesting torso printing there, and we get his hair once again. Tournament G, they actually put in the Air Jitsu G one, but you can see an image on the screen right now, so I make sure to not miss out on this one. And next up, the Titanium Suit, which of course, whenever he's the Titanium Ninja, this is a very different but awesome look. I love this titanium silver color accenting still the white, and he actually has some shurikens right there tucked into his suit. You can also see, since he's a robot, he gets some really cool gadgets here. As we move on to the Deep Stone Armor, he has those gadgets on his minifigure head still. And this minifigure, of course, incorporating all that black with the white, looks really nice. Here we have the actual Air Jitsu G minifigure. We have basically a plain white ninja cover up here, as well as his arms. Whenever we go to his torso, you can see the different colors incorporated right there. Really cool looking minifigure. Next up, the Destiny Robe, which, I mean, I guess you could say that Zane has changed, but he doesn't change that much, because of course it's still the same color scheme, black and white and gold. That's kind of what you see throughout this entire Zane line of minifigures. Next up, the Honor Robe. We get some like titanium hair, which was pretty interesting to get for this. And of course this logo there on his torso, which is a bit bigger than in his training outfit from 2011. The Fusion Armor was next. We still get his titanium head, which was a nice silver color. Pretty unique minifigure if you do have this one. And of course, the Ninja Force G. He's definitely changed whenever you look back to the Fusion Armor and then the Ninja Force G. I do really like it, and I think he'll have a very interesting personality in the upcoming movie. I'm really curious to see how that all pans out. And that's going to conclude my video overviewing all the Ninjago Ninjas that have ever been produced. Now granted, maybe some of them were not already on there, some of them were just a few little mistakes on there, but I was showing you the images on the screen at that time, so you guys most likely saw every single LEGO Ninjago Ninja that has ever been produced. Granted, there might have been a few that LEGO did not include on there, maybe some exclusive minifigures that came in exclusive poly bags, or just different variations of the minifigures, such as you had Kai ZX. They did not include Kai ZX with armor and then without armor, because it's still the same sort of robe. So they kept it like that, and I do like that. Otherwise there would have been a bazillion and I couldn't even do a video on this. Yes, this was a very long video. If you guys stayed for the end, thank you guys so much. Be sure to comment down below that you did, and comment down below if you guys have any other suggestions. I'm SpitBrix. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Be sure to subscribe if you guys are new, and check me out on Snupps. I will see you guys later.